Most people believe desire has an expiry date. They imagine it fades quietly somewhere after youth, marriage, responsibility, or wrinkles. They think desire belongs to young bodies, fast hearts, and reckless nights. But psychology tells a very different story. Desire doesn't disappear with age. It changes its location. When people are young, desire lives in the body. It is loud, urgent, restless. It demands action. It wants to be seen, touched, consumed. As people age, the body slows, but the psyche does not. And this is where the misunderstanding begins. Old love is not weaker. It is deeper. And depth is often mistaken for absence. Many older people stop expressing desire, not because it is gone, but because the world has told them they are no longer allowed to want. Society praises youthful desire. It celebrates passion when it is loud and visible. But when desire becomes quiet, reflective, internal, it becomes invisible. So people assume it no longer exists. This is the first lie. In reality, desire shifts from pursuit to presence, from hunger to meaning, from fantasy to memory. An older person may not chase love, but they feel it more fully when it appears. They don't want intensity anymore. They want truth. Psychologically, desire is not only sexual. It is the need to merge, to be recognized, to feel alive in the eyes of another. That need does not die with age. If anything, it becomes sharper, because aging strips away illusions. When you are young, you believe there is time. Time to love later. Time to feel deeply later. Time to be honest later. Old age removes that fantasy. Suddenly, every connection matters. Every touch carries weight. Every moment of closeness feels rare and sacred. This is why old love is often misunderstood. It is not explosive. It is concentrated. Older desire is quieter, not because it is weak, but because it no longer needs to prove itself. Another uncomfortable truth. Many older people experience desire more internally than externally. They may not act on it. They may not speak it, but it lives strongly in imagination, memory, and emotional attachment. Memories of love do not fade. They intensify. The mind revisits moments again and again, not with regret, but with longing for connection. This is why nostalgia is so powerful in old age. Nostalgia is not about the past. It is about unfinished emotion. And desire is one of the most unfinished emotions a human carries. Old love is not about conquest. It is about communion. Not about being wanted by many, but about being understood by one. Psychology shows that as people age, they stop chasing excitement and start seeking emotional safety. And yet, desire does not disappear in safety. It transforms. It becomes tenderness. It becomes patience. It becomes presence. An older person may sit silently beside someone they love and feel more desire in that silence than a young person feels in chaos. This is the paradox of aging. The body weakens, the ego softens, but the soul becomes honest, and honest desire is the strongest kind. Many older people suffer not because desire is gone, but because it has nowhere to go. No language, no permission, no space. They are told, "You've lived enough. You should be past this. You shouldn't want anymore." But the psyche does not obey social rules. Desire doesn't ask for permission. It waits, quietly, patiently, until someone sees it without judgment. And this is where old love becomes dangerous, not because it is reckless, but because it is real. When desire is suppressed for decades, it doesn't disappear. It waits. This is one of the most misunderstood aspects of aging. People assume that if desire hasn't been expressed for years, it must be gone. Psychologically, the opposite is true. Unlived desire accumulates. It gathers weight. And in old age, when distractions fall away, it often returns with surprising force. According to Carl Jung, anything that is denied conscious expression does not dissolve. It moves into the unconscious and waits for the right conditions to re-emerge. Old age provides those conditions. Children grow up. Careers end. Social roles loosen. Noise fades. What remains is the inner life. And for many older people, that inner life is filled with unfinished love. Not affairs, not lust in the youthful sense, but longing. Longing for touch that was never fully given, for intimacy that was postponed, for words that were swallowed to survive. This is why many elderly people experience sudden emotional attachments. A neighbor, a caretaker, a friend, a memory triggered by a song or a smell. It can feel confusing, even frightening. They ask themselves, why now? Why am I feeling this at my age? The answer is simple but uncomfortable, because now there is space. Earlier in life, desire was buried under responsibility, under duty, under survival. Now that survival no longer consumes all psychic energy, desire resurfaces, not as hunger, but as meaning. Old desire is rarely about sex alone. It is about being seen one last time, being known without performance, being held without expectation. This is why suppressing desire in old age leads to deep loneliness. Not physical loneliness, emotional loneliness. You can be surrounded by family and still feel unseen, because desire is not about activity. It is about recognition. Another difficult truth: many older people carry guilt about desire. They were taught that wanting is selfish, that sexuality has an expiration date, that emotional needs should be outgrown. So when desire appears, they feel shame instead of curiosity. This shame is devastating. It forces desire back into silence, and silent desire does not heal. It rots. It becomes bitterness, It becomes sadness without a name. It becomes resentment toward the world, toward youth, toward time itself. Psychologically, this is not aging. It is unlived life. Jung believed that the second half of life is meant for integration, not achievement, for reconciling what was lived with what was denied. When desire is integrated in old age, it does not destroy stability. It brings peace. It allows people to feel alive without needing to act recklessly. They can acknowledge, yes, I still feel. Yes, I still want connection. Yes, I still matter. That acknowledgement alone is healing. But when desire is denied, even then, the psyche suffers. This is why some older people become emotionally rigid, cold, detached. Not because they are done with life, but because life was never allowed to fully touch them. Old love is not tragic because it exists. It is tragic when it is silenced. Healthy desire in old age does not look like what movies show. It is not dramatic. It is not urgent. It does not demand proof. It is quieter, but more honest. By this stage of life, the psyche no longer wants intensity for its own sake. It wants truth. According to Carl Jung, the second half of life is not meant for expansion outward, but for reconciliation inward. This is where desire finds its final form. Not as hunger, but as presence. Old love is often misunderstood because it is not driven by fantasy anymore. It is driven by recognition, to be seen without performing, to be touched without being consumed, to be valued without being chased. This is what healthy desire looks like in old age. It doesn't need to act recklessly to prove it exists. It doesn't need validation from many eyes. It simply wants to rest somewhere real. When desire is acknowledged at this stage, something profound happens. The restlessness eases. The bitterness softens. The loneliness loses its edge. Not because someone new arrives, but because the psyche finally stops fighting itself. Many older people don't suffer because they want too much. They suffer because they were never allowed to want at all. Healthy desire in old age means allowing yourself to admit, I still feel. I still long. I still care. That admission alone restores dignity. It reconnects you to life without dragging you back into chaos. This is why old love, when conscious, can be deeply peaceful. It does not ask for youth. It does not envy the past. It does not compete with time. It accepts what is and finds meaning inside it. And that acceptance is something young love rarely achieves. Young desire burns fast because it is afraid of loss. Old desire glows slowly because it has already faced it. This is the quiet wisdom of aging. Desire doesn't die with age. It sheds illusion. What remains is not weakness. It is essence. If this video resonated, don't brush it off as philosophy. These feelings exist in real people, in parents, grandparents, elders, and eventually in you. Like the video, if this helped you see aging with more honesty and less fear. Subscribe if you want psychology that respects every stage of life, not just youth. And if you're willing, comment this. What do you think people misunderstand most about love and desire in old age? Sometimes the wisdom we need comes from listening to what we were told to ignore.